What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the God Next podcast. I'm your host, Mitchell Baldwin, my co-host, Dono.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And there's a lot of movement going on in the NFL right now, as you guys know. So we had to get Bennet, Bones, Nate Ash back on the show today. How you feeling, B?
Man, you guys left me out of the last one. Man, you had to get me back to show what was good. With all these moves happening, we had to do an episode.
Oh yeah, facts. We already gonna have more editions coming on, man. You already know. Yeah, I had to get you on this one. But today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of the movement going on. We got a lot of QBs that have new jobs, new contracts, all that type of stuff. And we got a few QBs that are left out right now. We don't really know where they're going to go. So let's just talk about it a little bit. I hope you guys like the episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that type of stuff. And let's get into it.
Yo, turn it up, Slay. I can't hear nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest news of last weekend, I'd say, was Deshaun Watson getting traded to the Browns, and the Browns didn't even trade Baker in return. They just trade some picks and gave him a fully guaranteed contract. It was widely reported that Deshaun Watson wanted to go back south, and that was pretty much any team in the Buccaneers division other than the Buccaneers. So he had the Saints, Falcons, Panthers. They said he was decided between the Saints and Falcons and was likely headed to the Falcons, and boom, all of a sudden he's going to Cleveland. I mean, it's a good move for the Browns. I think it makes the AFC North a really competitive division. There's obviously still – the Browns aren't a perfect team, and Deshaun Watson's last year in the NFL, even though he had a great year, he was the quarterback of a 4-12 team. So it doesn't necessarily mean Super Bowl or even Super Bowl contender for that matter, but I do think it puts the Browns back in the fold. They were 11-5 a couple years ago, and they have two good running backs, and they got Amari Cooper too from Dallas, so they have a true number one receiver. So I mean, I think the Browns are definitely, they have the chance to be a lethal threat. We'll see if they are.
Yeah, but before I answer the question, I actually have a question for you all. It was brought up to me by a family member. Now, do you all think the Browns made this move out of necessity, or was this a desperation type of move?
I just think that they had to try at least, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it was necessity, really, because I think another year Baker wouldn't have been too bad. I think a lot of Baker fans believe that he was just injured and stuff. So like I kind of would like to see a healthy season where he wouldn't have any excuses and he can show you that he's still trash. So I personally would like that, but I mean, I feel like if Deshaun Watson is on the table, you gotta make an offer. And then apparently, I'm hearing that the other teams, the Saints and the Falcons, didn't really have that much guaranteed money on the table. So I mean, if you can guarantee $200+ million, man, I'm playing for the Browns too. What you mean? Like I'm gonna make it look good. I'm gonna make it work. So yeah, as far as a necessity, I don't think it was a need, but I mean, you gotta try. It's Deshaun Watson, top 3 quarterback. So.
I mean, I would say, it was obvious and clear that Baker was playing injured last year. However, I do think we know at his full potential, Baker Mayfield isn't as good as Deshaun Watson. It's just obvious. Like, he's not the same player as Deshaun Watson. Mm-hmm. And as we saw last year, I mean, I'm not saying Baker's as good as Matthew Stafford either, but a lot of people didn't have Matthew Stafford in their top 10 a year ago, or maybe he barely just cracked it. You don't need a great quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You can win it with a really good quarterback, but the rest of the team better be really good. The Browns, the way they were constructed 2 years ago when they made the playoffs and won a playoff game, they pretty much had a very good team around Baker. And they still had most of that team last year, but they were playing with an injured Baker all year, and they ended up trading Odell. And a couple other things didn't go their way as well. They had bad luck with COVID and injuries late in the year. However, Baker was never going to be great with that team. At best, he was going to be what Jimmy Garoppolo was, maybe still is to the Niners. But he hadn't even reached that, to be honest with you. So I think it was a foregone conclusion. The Browns had to make a move. They didn't have a winning season last year. If there's something better to upgrade, to make yourself back to being a playoff contender and even, more aspirations, possibly a championship contender, you had to upgrade at QB, and they did just that. Yeah, so as we all know, the Packers gave Aaron Rodgers a huge contract to pretty much finish his career in Green Bay. However, it came at the expense of their next best player. A lot of people think is the best receiver in the league, definitely top 3, Davante Adams. They just couldn't afford both of them, and had to send him away, and now he's back with his college teammate Derek Carr in Las Vegas playing for the Raiders. I think it was the Packers obviously didn't want to lose Davante, but he said he wasn't going to play for the tag. And if you only could afford to tag him, he was going to sit out, so it wasn't worth that tag. So you might as well get value from the Packers. Definitely need to either draft a receiver or at least sign Julio or some free agent out there, because they're going to need a number one option. Lazard ain't going to be that guy. But as far as the Raiders go, we all know the AFC West is panning out to be a very tough division next year. A lot of acquisitions within that division. Chiefs just got Juju. The Raiders got Chandler Jones and now Davante Adams. The Chargers got Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson. They already have Bosa and Derwin James, and now you look at the Broncos. They got Russell Wilson. So I mean, that division is just loaded right now. The Raiders need to be a part of that. So good move for the Raiders. Derek Carr better have the best year of his career. He hasn't played with a better receiver. I mean, he's played with Amari Cooper, but Davante Adams is an animal who he has chemistry with from college. So great move for the Raiders. We'll see how good that gets them. They're still in a dog fight of a division.
Yeah, that was honestly, like you said, a great move for the Raiders. And once again, this is the same thing we were talking about last year. Aaron Rodgers was complaining because the Packers didn't make any moves to help him. And then he re-signs with them after he caused that whole thing last year, just being upset that he has no help. Then they trade away his biggest piece of help. So who knows? At this point, who knows? Maybe the Packers would bring in Antonio Brown and Julio Jones. Who knows? Who knows? That they need help. You're not going to win with Mark Valdez-Scantling and Alan Lazard as your top two receivers. That's not going to win you many games. I'm sorry. Aaron Rodgers is great, but you need somebody decent. And Davante Adams was great, and they still couldn't win the big one if you think about it like that. So, but great move for the Raiders. I feel like the AFC West, they can honestly get all four teams into the playoffs this year. One division winner, and I think the other three teams could be the wild cards. That division from top to bottom is absolutely stacked. I feel like the Raiders need one more piece on defense to be a more complete team, but offensively, they got all the answers. They got Davante Adams now. Can't forget about Darren Waller, a top 3 tight end in the league. Still got Hunter Renfrow, who's
great number 2.
Yeah, really solid slot receiver. He's just always open on third downs. And then you try to stop their passing game, they still got Josh Jacobs. So they got weapons all around. And honestly, everything's on Derek Carr now. He pulled the Raiders out of tough times last year, but now he's got everything around him to have the team successful and put them in a position to win some playoff games. So we can only see from here, but I absolutely love that move for the Raiders, no matter what the cost. I mean, you can get, if not the best, a top 2 receiver in the league on your team, you immediately have to make that move.
Carson Wentz, obviously not thought of as a great quarterback, I'll be honest. He's kind of like every quarterback the Colts have gotten since Andrew Luck's left, someone who's maybe past, who's seen better days than they're going to see in their careers. For those you don't know, after Andrew Luck retired, they had a year with Jacoby Brissett, who's just, really solid backup but not a starter. And they had Phillip Rivers for the last year of his career. Then they had Carson Wentz this past year, and we'll get to this later, but they have Matt Ryan for next year, who just looks like, Phillip Rivers 2.0 for the Colts, but we'll get to that later. Carson Wentz overall had a really, good year. He's 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, I think, but all he had to do was beat the Jaguars on the road to make the playoffs, and he and the rest of the team failed miserably. Big upgrade for the Washington Commanders, no doubt about that. They played all last year with Taylor Heineke, who I think, just kind of like Jacoby Brissett, is a really good backup, but not a starter in this league. So the Washington Commanders upgraded at quarterback. Carson Wentz is still I'd say the upper half of quarterbacks in the league. So I can't think of a quarterback they've had as good as Carson Wentz in quite some time, since RG3's rookie year, maybe. I mean, they had Kirk Cousins for a while, but Kirk didn't win any big games. I guess him and Carson Wentz are kind of on the same level. But I mean, Carson Wentz is a little more mobile, bigger, possibly, stronger arm. I think, he's got to take what's around him. They got to have a really good draft. They got to have really good players around them, and we'll see if he can succeed. But no doubt he's an upgrade on what they've had of recent years.
For sure. Carson Wentz is an upgrade over Taylor Heineke. First of all, I'll give Taylor Heineke his props. To be a backup, undrafted, was sitting on the couch for a few years before he got his chance, and albeit a playoff game. He's earned his spot in the NFL. I'll give him that. He's earned a spot in the NFL. He's a high-end backup quarterback. Taylor Heineke is really solid. But to get to Carson Wentz, this is a typical, I can't even say the old name anymore. This is a Commanders move. This is a Washington type of move, if that makes sense. They'll swing big for a quarterback just to land right back where they are the next year in need of a quarterback. Carson Wentz is not the long-term answer. Sure, he could ball out this season. He could lead us to the playoffs, but at the end of the day, we only signed him for 1 year. So if he balls out this year, they're gonna have to pay him next year. When you still got a bunch of guys, you got Terry McLaurin, you still got to give money to. You got Chase Young, you got players you still got to pay. So to invest it all in Carson Wentz, who's been so volatile throughout his career, it just doesn't make sense. I feel like we'll be right back here next year talking about what are the Commanders going to do at quarterback, because we might have won 8 to 9 games and ended up right back where we are right now, talking about, hey, it was a solid season. Maybe 1 or 2 more plays there could have did something, but didn't do it in the end. So when it comes down to it, decent move, but I don't think it's ultimately in the NFL. People play to win championships. Nobody plays to make the playoffs, lose in the wild card round, and go home. So at best, this is what this move did, and that just puts us right back where we are. So that's how I feel about that.
There was a lot of passion in that. I can appreciate that. I love the point that you made about them just kind of having the same problem over and over again every year. It's like, I feel like they should just get a solid draft pick at this point. They should honestly just tank for a few years and just get a solid QB. Once you get that, you can win. You can do everything you like. You do whatever you want to do when you get a good quarterback, bro. They just keep investing in these like they got nothing left. Like, yeah, the glass half empty quarterbacks, bro. Like Alex Smith a few years ago, great comeback story, of course, but come on, man. That's not a long-term thing. Like, you're literally just kicking the can down the road. It's literally gonna come up eventually. You know, so it's like you might as well get a good quarterback. I agree with that.
Don't get me wrong though. Don't get me wrong. Carson Wentz is head and shoulders a better quarterback.
Yeah. I'm not saying he's not, but I think he does a lot of boneheaded plays, and I don't think he's not gonna win you any games. I don't think he's gonna really go out there and wow you a lot. Maybe twice a year, but that's about it. I don't think.
Dak's still hands down the best quarterback in that division. Yeah, I
agree. I don't think it really moves any needle. Maybe Jalen Hurts might be a little bit better than Carson Wentz at this point. We don't really know. We don't know. I think Jalen Hurts is getting better. I do. I think he's getting better.
Look at those teeth grinning right now.
I think it's on the way. I don't know, bro. We're gonna see. But I'm thinking a lot less of Carson Wentz after what I saw from him last season, personally. Who's better, Matt Ryan or Carson Wentz?
See, that's a tough question. I think Matt Ryan's got a better mental game. I think Carson Wentz is a better physical game. So I think Matt Ryan's less likely to screw up. So that's why I said I compare him to Phillip Rivers from 2 years ago. Frank Reich's going to use him to not screw up. He's going to say you have a good running back, good offensive line, just manage the game. Pretty good defense, just manage the game. But there's going to be those games against those big dog quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Mahomes, maybe even like Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, that the Colts won't be able to win because he's not as good as the other quarterback. I mean, that's just my opinion, but I mean, that's
basically my opinion too. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't really think that it does much for them. I think that
he'll be a good game manager for them.
At least he'll win against the Jaguars and get them into the playoffs. I think that's what he'll be able to do. But I don't in the playoffs they're not gonna be able to do anything. Like they're at the end of the day, like they're not that great. They're really good though. Jonathan Taylor is good, man. He has another year like he just had. I mean, we're talking about him in a different light. So I mean, they're a pretty good team. I think that they got better, but I mean, the upgrade from Carson Wentz it's not gonna wow me that much. I think they went from like a 5 to like a 6.5.
Put it this way, he'll make them good enough to where they can't draft a quarterback next year, which is what they need.
Yeah, exactly. The next two are going to be Baker Mayfield and Jimmy G. So, I mean, basically, let's just talk about what teams you think that they're going to win.
So, call me crazy, but I think the only two vacancies at quarterback for day one of the NFL season next year are the Panthers and the Seahawks. Call me crazy if I'm missing anybody else, but I think
crazy. I'm going to say you're crazy.
I would say the
Well,
Texans too.
I think the Texans said they're rolling with Davis Mills. Like it might be crazy for that, but
you know that they did. They're like, yeah, they were like, we don't need one Baker. Like we
they
like
didn't want
Davis.
Baker, yeah. And the Falcons signed Marcus Mariota. Obviously, he's not a long-term solution. They're going to draft a quarterback, but I think that's their day one quarterback.
Brought back Jameis too.
Yep, and the Saints brought back Jameis. So I think the Panthers and the Seahawks are the only real vacancies for day one.
I got another one, but I'm gonna just wait till it comes around.
Okay. Oh yeah. And feel free to say whenever I'm done. But I do think that with those two quarterbacks, Baker and Jimmy Garoppolo, they're known as like average. Jimmy Garoppolo's style is a little better, I think, than Baker because he wins more. But I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo wants to play for the Panthers. I don't think that makes him a better team. I don't think he wants to play for the Seahawks either. They're clearly the worst team in that division. So I honestly think there's a good chance the Niners keep Jimmy Garoppolo for one more year because think about it. They just lost the NFC Championship game. Why would you go to – I know Trey Lance, they traded up for him. And I'm not saying he's going to be like Jordan Love is to the Packers because that would be really disappointing. But I do think that that they just lost the NFC Championship. So why would you take a step back and switch quarterbacks when you're like that close? You know what I mean? The Packers lost a player. The Buccaneers lost a couple players, even though Brady did return. They lost a couple players. So the Niners are in pretty good contention to do what they did last year. Jimmy Garoppolo just needs to make the big throws in the big moments. So, I mean, I think they're going to keep Garoppolo one more year. I don't think you're not going to trade him within your division to the Seahawks.
So what about Baker?
I think Baker could go to the Seahawks. But, I mean, that's obviously a huge downgrade from Russell Wilson. I think the Seahawks might just have to bite the bullet for this year. And Baker's going to end up looking like Jared Goff is on the Lions. The Seahawks are really bad. They are a good organization, but I just think clearly they have the least amount of talent in their division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like, a sleeper team here I think should be the Giants.
Oh,
we've seen Daniel Jones play for what is it about 3 to 4? What was
3
it?
years? Yeah.
3 years now, and we know what the man is. He's not good.
Yeah.
I'm not being biased or anything. I'm a Commanders fan, so I have little room to talk. I know terrible quarterback play when I see it.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones is not good. He's not good. The Giants, honestly, I would take a flyer on Baker Mayfield and just say, hey, just play for this year. You're not good. We'll get a good draft pick, and we'll just go get a quarterback. I mean, he at least deserves a shot on the Giants or something like that. The Giants shouldn't be turning their nose up at other quarterback opportunities because Daniel Jones is not it. You got Saquon Barkley in the backfield. Who else they had? They had Golladay at receiver. It's not like they had trash around. The offensive line was dicey, but you still got decent players there. He turns the ball over a lot. Don't try to compare him to Eli Manning. I mean, their defense isn't good enough. Eli Manning at least had a good defense. So I feel like the Giants should definitely be in the quarterback running there. But honestly, I agree with your point. I think Jimmy G stays put, honestly, because he did just go to an NFC Championship game, give Trey Lance more time. And then with Baker.
And a Super Bowl 2 years ago. He was in a Super Bowl 2 years ago.
As long as he's healthy, he gets the Niners to a good place. And
clearly a good system quarterback. I mean, with a good coach.
Exactly. Now, with Baker, honestly, if the Texans don't want you, that tells me a lot about your game. Because the Texans are at rock bottom, literally.
You're not wanted. That's what that means to me.
Davis Mills wasn't good. We saw him. He wasn't good. But to each his own. If Baker doesn't end up on the Panthers, honestly, I could even see him being released and just being a backup somewhere. I don't think that would be a hot take, but
we're all in agreement that Jimmy has to be a starter next year somewhere, right? Well, actually, Mitch, let's see what you had to say about all this.
Jimmy G will be playing for the 49ers. I'm going to go ahead and put that out there right now. I already was in the mindset of what B said. Like, I don't know why you pick somebody else. Like, you already made it far in the playoffs. Like, there's just no point in getting another quarterback. Like, you clearly have something that's working. Like, a few things go different in that game, you win. So it's like, I don't really know why you would, really take a chance on anybody else. And I think it's just hilarious what's happening to Baker, because I've said for a while Baker Mayfield sucks. And then he tried to do the whole thing with Odell, and he's not a cool guy to me. Like, he's not a cool guy to me anymore. Like, I don't like him. But the fact that the Texans don't want him, and then he was like, yeah, I really would like to go to the Colts. A few hours later, Matt Ryan gets signed. They're just like, bro, nobody wants this man, bro. I think it's hilarious, bro. That man requested a trade and has no trade value, bro. Nobody wants that man. Like, he literally might have to get, like, they might have to bite the bullet, like, and just eat his contract and just drop him, bro. Just release him.
That's wild.
It's crazy to think about, bro. But like, I can't see him on the Seahawks. Maybe But I think even that's a long shot because they're a good organization.
A good organization.
I don't think that they would want to pick up a bad quarterback. And then what's that? The Panthers. I mean, I don't really know.
Panthers got a solid team. They got Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore,
and they had a top tier defense the whole year too. So yeah, I think that they're a pretty good team. But the Giants, I see the Giants more than any other team here. But I don't think if he can't handle Cleveland media, I don't know how he's going to go to New York and handle that media. So I don't like that move for him personally either. So I don't know.
And just selfishly, I was going to ask you guys. I know this wasn't on the list of things, but I got to ask since I'm a Steelers fan. What do y'all think of Trubisky to the Steelers? Is that better? Here's a way to put it. Here's a way to phrase that. Is that better than Big Ben in his last year? Having Mitchell Trubisky, someone who can do the RPOs. I mean, for the Steelers, they're going to have a good defense. So all they need to do on offense is possess time. Is this going to help them with that at all? Or what's your thoughts on that?
I say yes. Because Pittsburgh is a better organization than Chicago was. And Trubisky, I give him his credit. He was garbage, but with a solid defense in Chicago, he still made the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So I got to give credit where it's due. They were a missed kick away from winning a playoff game.
Yep.
So I just feel like the problem is with Trubisky on the Steelers, he's the worst quarterback in a division where you have Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and now Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
That is just hell to pay. He couldn't win the division crown with just Aaron Rodgers. It's Aaron Rodgers. I give him his credit, but now you got 3 elite quarterbacks in your division alone. But Pittsburgh will always be in the running because Mike Tomlin's their coach. So they
got the best defense in that division, I think, too. That's one thing I'd say.
You still got Najee Harris and solid weapons on offense. So Pittsburgh will still be in the running for sure. But I just feel like Mitchell Trubisky, he's not it. He's not the guy.
Sounds like a 9-8 year kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I don't like Mitchell Trubisky on the Steelers. I don't think that he really does anything for you. I think Carson Wentz in his last year might be better. Not gonna lie to you, he might be better. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I don't think it's a hot take. But and last thing I want to say, we only got 3 minutes left. Juju Smith-Schuster is trash, and I think that you guys did a great thing getting rid of him. I really do.
I think he'll ball out on the Chiefs.
Well, he's a number 3 option because he's playing behind Kelsey and Hill. So I mean, his ass better get open. I mean, those guys get double teamed. He better get open. He better not drop the ball. But I mean, he was our number 3 receiver. I feel like kind of. I mean, he definitely isn't as good as Deontay Johnson. Chase Claypool, still a mystery.
He's a nutcase. And Juju Smith-Schuster, man, he's just a distraction, bro. Like I don't really like him. Like, what did he do on the Steelers that ever made you be like, wow?
His rookie season, he was nice. His rookie season,
because he's playing it with AB his first 2 years, so he's
playing with AB. Come on.
The number 2 receiver better eat with AB. Yeah, it's like Martavis Bryant ate for us all those years whenever he wasn't suspended with smoking weed or whatever the hell he was doing. Like he was balling out too, and then
it already came out that Patrick Mahomes, and his family coming to the games. Now you got a bigger distraction. A grown man was crying because he's not allowed to do TikToks and just play football. That's a grown man. All right, so I'm going to tell you right now, Juju Smith is trash. He will not be productive on the Chiefs. He will not. But is there anything else anybody wants to say?
I think this was a productive episode. We'll see how accurate our predictions are. I mean, like I said, it looks like Panthers and Seahawks are the only true vacancies. But like you guys said, Texans and Giants, if there were better options out there, they'd probably converse and try to get him. So we'll see. We'll see if Baker's a Panther or if he gets released and is a backup. We'll see if Jimmy Garoppolo stays. He probably will. I'm excited, guys. And then we got to do our next episode before the draft, which is in a month from now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great episode.
That's going to do it for this edition of the Got Next podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. As more news comes out, we'll be doing more episodes for the NFL. Catch you next week. Peace.